Cool. So welcome everybody to the first Story School call of the year. We're really excited for, basically restarting everything in 2022 and jump starting, from development to community and marketing, everything that needs to be done. So I just shared, if you go to CC Questions chat, in there's a link to the Trello Creative Collateral Bank and a high-level content calendar. So this is something that, we were doing some housekeeping, and we just wanted to have one place where everything that has been shared over the past 6 months can be found. The recurrent column is just for the images that we've tended to use most frequently. And then Owen, Bisa Mason, Bifa Yogi, and Wakwao, they have like their own column soon after, just because the frequency of the art they've created and also the use we've been doing and just the initiative that they've been having in the project. We think that's why they deserve that space. Followed by, of course, like some early work by Wakwao, Kasabman. We shared one of his videos recently. Illusion also had some cool things early on. We had the works from Samurai Badger. Also, they were really cool. Maybe not so much in our brand, more like Sovereign's brand, but pretty sexy if you ask me. Just not so much in our brand. That's something that we can discuss. Elusive Goose, then he played basically with also like I think the only thing I found from Elusive Goose but was pretty cool was just a mix from Illusion's original work. Then under memes and other, we have things that were sort of like one-time contributions by people or just like public domain memes. So in here we have this one that was done by Mauricio early on. This one was done by Seven Newsman. Just now I just added this astronaut with a BabelFish flag on top of USDC shared by Lishi. And so here is where we will start everything that gets shared on Discord. It's something that we will have to keep on updated. And you can also see there's sort of like the logotypes that you can, if you need to use them, you can find them here. And then of course, if you're not familiar, I think this channel is open to everybody. We have but maybe it's not. And these are some changes that we still need to do some housekeeping, but there's, for example, we have an adoption school channel, which may not be open to everyone, where we have like brand guidelines. I'm just gonna go ahead actually and also share that on CC Questions chat. Yeah, the sticker contest is missing. Owen, that's right. We will make sure to add that as well. But yeah, I just wanted to start basically by sharing that with you guys so that you can now where they are. And then basically we're still working on like a content calendar. It's very messy. The idea is for all of you to understand that. I think at this point it's really understand. So just bear with us. This should be made much simpler to understand by the end of the week. But in essence, what we have in here, it's a weekly Monday stablecoin news roundup that are being done by Calvin K or Angler. We are going to be having something new, which I'm looking forward to start, like a bi-weekly Twitter Spaces interviews. So that's something that's going to just to promote BabelFish on Twitter. So that will be like interviews that I will be conducting with people from RSK, from Sovereign, from different stablecoin projects, and just people that are relevant to what we're building on BabelFish. Likewise, the first Sunday of each month, we will also be writing like an ecosystem news summary, and so that will be sort of like similar to the weekly stablecoin news roundup, but this will be news that are relevant on RSK and on BabelFish, and stablecoins, Bitcoin, and just maybe even the macroeconomy, just for additional educational content. So that should also be starting soon. Also, we are adding For Medium posts, we want to start doing sort of like things that are relevant to each BIP. So first it goes into the forum, but we also want to have like an official Medium post, you know, sort of like sharing a link to that BIP, but also explaining a bit more in detail, not just keeping it in the forum, but also, you know, sharing it on Medium, making sure that Medium stays updated pretty much every week. And then another cool thing that I want to discuss with you guys, it's you know, having potential also like bi-weekly topic competitions, right? So what we want to go back to, and this is the main point of this conversation, I want to open it up to you guys. You know, in the website that we will soon be phasing out, early on we were really using this. You know, if you clicked on bounties, we had this very simple bounties page that seemed to work at the beginning, and then we sort of like dropped it off, stopped paying attention to it. But there were some cool things here, so we want to you know, we're upgrading the website now. This again is being phased out, but what we want to do is sort of like to restart like these competitions again. So like Lichi just shared an image saying that, you know, it was for like the image competition. I'm not aware of a competition going on right now, but we want to do them monthly. So based on this content calendar that we will be sort of like quote unquote prettifying or beautifying for everybody to understand, we want to do monthly competitions, right? So you know, these competitions you know, should be monthly and advertised and reviewed as such. So these could be competitions from quizzes. We did a quiz at the end of the year that was pretty fun, and it brought the community together in a lightweight tune. We can also do like monthly also Twitter promotions, monthly competitions to design for images and videos, like for example Kasapman's videos. I think they should be also like, you know, people should be able to participate, you know, on a monthly basis based on what we need for that month, as well as, you know, marketing with influencers or ambassadors, and written and video content. So for example, we also had in here an ongoing bounty, and again, this is going to be improved, but I want to brainstorm with you guys first, you know, hear your opinions. Where, for example, say that we start the month and we have a monthly competition across the board for images, for videos, for long-form topics, instead of making it all broad like this, like, hey, this is just very general and there's no timeline and there's no specific topic, and then just submit it. The idea is that every month, you know, we will have one content, one specific, you know, one form, similar to the form that we have for joining BabelFish, where a lot of people, you know, in this call joined from. We will basically be doing that. So it's like, you know, monthly, every month, at the beginning of every month, we want to do bounties, which will be, you know, to compete across the board for things that we may need and make it a bit more specific. And then the idea, which is what I would like to discuss with you guys on this call, is that, you know, these results will be shared. Let me just stop showing my screen. These people that participate by filling these forms, whether it's to participate in the monthly image, the monthly video, the monthly content, the monthly, I don't know, influencer that wants to promote us, they will share it there, and then towards at the end of the month, we will get to vote on them, potentially on Discord. So that's kind of like what I wanted to start the conversation with, and then to manage this process, you know, like I wanted to also bring up, you know, like in this call we have Owim, for example. We have Owim has been very active, as we can see from the Trello board. Kiro has been very active on all of the Twitter posts are coming from Kiro. And you know, the weekly news summaries are coming from Angler, and I know that also, you know, as we saw also in the Trello board, Visa was very active. So, you know, it occurred to me that to initiate this process potentially, you know, early in February, if you look at the calendar, I'm giving ourselves, you know, like until February to really start this process properly. The idea, I'm thinking that Owen, Visa, between Owen, Visa, Kira, and Angler, they can help manage this activity together with the dolphins. And then if this works properly, at the end of this quarter, then we will, the process will be much improved, and people will know who to contact for what. Maybe responsibilities will change. But that is kind of like the idea that I wanted to like start this conversation with, and hear from you guys. Yeah, so I don't know if some of you guys have some ideas here. I didn't cover OWIM's. OWIM also mentioned a concept to to facilitate what we're calling like fluid leadership, which is like doing like a set of different poses from different astronauts or different characters, different backgrounds, so that then we can have like it will be much easier for any newcomer to just access this bank of different transparent vectors, and play around and do their own sort of like stories and share it on social media. So I think that's also something cool to discuss. But yeah, that's kind of like the main point of this call. I wanted to share with you guys sort of like that high level content calendar. And again, the idea would be to have, I'm thinking to start managing this process, Owen, Visa, Kira, and Angler, both on the content side, so 2 people on the content side, 2 people on the image side, and then jump starting monthly competitions across the board for visuals, images, videos, content. And so I just wanted to hear from you guys what do you think about that, if that makes sense to you, if you have other ideas before we make this like a final thing and start moving forward with it first week of February. So yeah, whomever wants to jump in with questions or feedback, please. And I definitely expect you guys to be jumping in with feedback, because this is definitely, I mean, we can go forward with it, but the idea is that it makes sense to everybody on the call, that they feel like this is going to continue bringing new ideas and new talent into the space, and that everybody feels heard and they have the right opportunities. In my mind, it makes sense, but let's hear it from you all.
Hello.
Hey, Owen.
Do you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah. I like it that we came to a point where we have to reorganize the whole thing, because it was super creative in the beginning and lots of things happened. And in the last few weeks, months, it got a bit dry. And I hope that we can get kind of the same energy back in a way. And I'm still happy to be very active. And I love the content calendar. That's really great to have, because it gives us some orientation. And maybe the community has kind of to decide which imagery they like best and which path they want to follow, or if they want to keep it like a bit organic like it was until now, like not we don't have like story school design guidelines, or everybody's just doing astronauts how they want it and they look different. But I kind of like this diversity. So far, so good.
Yeah, it's a good point. And again, I think, I started the call saying, your work on Visa Masons is very good. We were having some conversations and the Dolphin sort of like, that sort of like your sketches mixed with Visa Masons design sort of like is the right fit. I don't know if Visa Mason, I don't think Visa Mason is in this call. And I think we could start, that could be as part of, putting order in things. It would make sense, especially with your idea of, creating this Lego. So if this Lego is created as like, between you and Visa Mason, I think that would help a lot. but keeping the space open for the monthly competitions, so that, for example, we can have, like the videos from DeFi Yogi or the explainer videos from Casabman that we will still need. That they have their own style, but for promoting, like the beeps or updates and things like that, I think we can start aligning towards what Visa has been designing with your sketches. It's unfortunate that he's not on this call, so we'll see. But I think that is something that would make sense. I think it's one of the nicest designs that we've seen, but all of them are great at the same time. So that's actually a good question. I don't know if anybody else has thoughts between a formalized sort of like design guidelines for the brand, or if you guys prefer to keep it, free for everybody to visualize BabelFish according to their own eyes.
So Dak just told me that he should be coming soon, and he's just getting out of the shower and has a lot of things he'd like to say in response to that. So yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So we gotta. I guess Dak is getting his towel. Always need to have your towel.
Yeah.
Especially
I would
Mark
like.
and Spencer's.
Yeah. I would like to, yeah, I like your initiatives, and yeah, I think we have like a brand guideline which was shared by Dark Knight in the CC question chat, and it was also shared in the community school chat or one of the channels. And in coming days, we are going to also add some additional layer of information there. I'm waiting for the Dynamite Arts to provide us the latest version, which we will be able to edit with some additional info. And I think those guidelines should be used by all contributors and also all members of the other schools, like community school, because we want to share some values which are common for the whole BabelFish money protocol, and and I think that the community people not involved directly into shaping in the story school and other schools of BabelFish, they can do some things on their own. They don't have to stick directly to the guidelines. So I think there is like also a creative way of searching the new themes, new ideas, and sharing it with others.
Hello guys, I'm Kiro and I'm doing the Twitter posts, and I do like the call like we do today with for the story school, and I wanted to ask if we are going to do it oftenly, like from that we can, for example, like get ideas from the whole community from here.
Yeah, so I'm thinking we should have them bi-weekly. I think bi-weekly is fine, unless anybody else thinks that they need to be weekly. We can also have them weekly. I think bi-weekly works.
Yeah, and, good idea. And maybe after community call, or like a week after community call, so or at least like 5 days after community call. So we would have to to think of some new ideas, and we would have some time to work on this until next community call.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm really sure that in our community are also very creative persons, and that they, for example, like also have their own opinion for anything, and they want to share maybe to us or to everyone, and so we can discuss about this. It's a very good idea to make this kind of call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to hear, for example, also from like, I don't know, from DeFi Yogi or from Lychee, because, like I want to see if, if this makes sense also for your workflow, if like, monthly competitions make sense to you guys for images and for videos, or if you have some other suggestions.
I'm doing images for living, so for me it's like a different activity that makes fun. So also if somebody gives some idea, I can make it, try to make it. So competition also good. So yeah, for me it sounds great.
For me too, Dark Knight. I have a little bit of internet connection problem around here. I lost a little bit of your explanation, and I think the record will help me. But I think it's good as I see so far, as I'm listening here, and it seems very good. I think Trello is amazing technology to help us to go along, and as well all the spreadsheets you are doing. I think this is very good to help us to align, to help Kiro to the posts as well in Instagram and integrating all the community. I think that's the idea.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, it's unfortunate Bisa isn't here, but like, yeah, I think, Kiro doing Twitter, like, I think that's one of the most important things in our industry. Having, understanding where we're going, what to expect, and where to find things. And again, OWIM, I think OWIM would be very good on at least, the consistent images that we would need to start setting it up. But based on this conversation, exactly, I'm seeing that, for everything else, perhaps it can be left sort of like organic. I would like again to hear maybe from Visa, because I think he's done a great job. Those images have done really well on social. But yeah, okay, I think we're getting somewhere here.
Yeah, but the Dark Knight, just let me say one thing. I think we are also open for other.
Don't just say one. Many things.
We are open for other artists as well, and if there are other illustrators who could provide us some content, that would be great. Because I know also that Bisa is doing this for a living, and he has some other things on his head as well, and so it's not always optimal to get the content from him on a timely manner. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I have a question here from a design perspective. So, could you expand a bit on this idea? For example, you're asking, and we can have a call about this separately, but I'm curious on how you envision. I think what you mentioned in the chat about like Legos for, like fluid, contributions towards design. So if we come and also like having like guidelines for how we like the design of like, the BabelFish astronauts and sort of like characters that make our brand. Is it possible to, have you seen similar, do you have examples of brands that, for example, have like, okay, well, if you want to make a character, these are the official colors that we tend to prefer in the characters, and then, have you seen similar templates that we can replicate or see as an example of maybe where we could take this and make the competition and the design even more, formalize it more and focus it more towards, so that when people see the image, even though it may have been illustrated or drawn by somebody, by different people, they definitely strike. People immediately recognize that, oh, this is BabelFish, right? Like you have Mickey Mouse being drawn by a lot of people, but you immediately know it's Mickey Mouse because he has the red shorts and the similar colors, similar smile.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. I think the best examples are really the 2D animations, where you have a project, let's keep it with Mickey Mouse, where everything is kind of clear and many people draw on it, but there is like one person who draws like the storyboard, and the other persons just fill the frames in between. So it's kind of similar, I guess. Okay, we do not animate, but I think we can kind of stick to that. Like find 10 really good poses which communicate in body language what we want to cover, and then have some elements that we can add to it, and in the end, yeah, we have a good Lego, I guess. Sorry, I cannot share a link or whatever, but this is what went through my mind.
Yeah, I think we have something something cool there. I wonder how difficult it will be exactly to define specific colors for, like, I don't know, for the golden astronaut or for, like, you know, the BabelFish, because we've seen so much variety on BabelFish animations, from the pixelated fish that's being done by the, you know, by the Babelverse, to, you know, the mechanical fish that Sovereign did early on, to, you know, the fish that was originally made by Wakwao. Like, I feel that everybody, you know, when they read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, of course, everybody visualizes a fish. Some people imagine it as like a goldfish. But I think it's important to perhaps, yeah, start. Yeah, we need to. I think it's an important conversation, which is what I would like to maybe this call to sort of like start nailing down. Do we want to, like, you know, restrain the creativity a bit, or keep it super anarchy? I think that it's good to restrain it a bit. For example, Sovereign, which is, you know, sort of like where BabelFish was born, they've stuck to one specific you know, design guideline, and I think that's to their benefit. At the same time, we see DeFi projects that it's super organic, which is good for memes, right? Because anybody can play with it as they want. So it's definitely a conversation to have.
Yeah, but I must say that Sovereign never had like this community-based design contests or story school-like structure. They had artists, then they hired more artists, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I love the organic way in which this all started, how we all came together. I mean, and that's why everybody's still here.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, no, I think that's really good to hear, and I think that going towards your idea of the Lego can help, especially if we start next month competitions across, you know, images or videos. Just making sure that it you know, that it has some delineations of, okay, well, it should be doing this or that, but, you know, feel free to do it as your imagination desires. Perhaps that's the best way, and then we as a community get to vote on Discord, you know, based on the submissions that we get transparently shared with everyone. Yeah, with an allocated budget, of course, per month for the story school.
Yeah, but Dark Knight, that raises questions about, you know, how people participating in story school will be rewarded. So that's also something I think we'll have to discuss, and or at least think about for next month. And yeah, I think we have to be also clear that we want to reward people for their work, and different people will provide different amount of work on some of the projects. And I see here there are some new people for me who didn't participate earlier, so I hope to hear from you as well. So what are your experiences, and how could you help us, and what do you await for this?
People are just doing some DeFi espionage from the.
Might be. If you are unable to speak, you can always type in the CC question chat.
Hi guys, Lee here. Every day I'm tattooing, but at the moment, because of raising a newborn, I found some more time for some different stuff, and I'm not working that much, so I can do some drawing. Even if you have ideas to make, I'm able to create that. So just can give me some ideas, and also we can work like that.
Awesome. Yeah.
So you are
Cool.
like more like a illustrator, or tattoo artist. So
I'm just doing what people ask me to do, and I create things for them. So
Okay.
Design soldier.
at the moment, I'm playing with the kid and trying to chat with you.
Blessings.
Multitasking.
Yeah, multitasking.
Congratulations, Alicia, by the way.
Thank you, man. Finally, it's settling, and it's getting much easier day after.
That's good to hear.
It's a nice trap. Every time you think it's easy, they make the next step.
Yeah.
From my experience, small children, small problems, and bigger children, bigger kids, bigger problems. So all is ahead of you.
Yeah, let's say BabelFish is a small kid now.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think so long what matters it's the and again I'm looking forward to hear also what Dak from the Babelverse school has to say there as well. But I think what we're aligning in here is that it makes sense, so we have say Owe and Kiro, like we together with the Dolphinarium, putting some sort of like the management side of it. But of course, we would have the clear rules of the game participation, making sure that that people understand well. Even if I do not win, do I get a percentage of the amount allocated for, say, the design part of the monthly competition on images, or for the writing a post, so that people understand well if I am going to write a post about this topic. Then I want to know that even if I don't get first or second or third place, if I get like fourth place, do I still get something? So those rules, we will also be, it needs to be super clear. I think that's not so hard. But yeah, I think that we're coming to agreement here that, it's cool. For example, the initiative that Owen put forth about doing like a Lego thing. I think that's cool. That is something that can, help us, help anybody that it's not a designer to make their own sort of like cartoons, or even Kiro, or anybody to just, doesn't know how to design, to just move things and just make our work easier. But at the same time, not constraining newcomers with specifics on how to design, but just, just to participate, and then we will, and this monthly guidelines will have to be defined sort of like by Kiro, Owen, just based on what we expect also from the Dolphinarium, to happen in the coming weeks and months. So that's what's going to need to be really formalized before the end of this week, and then we can share it with the community, so that it's super. We're getting somewhere. And I think we're all in alignment that it makes sense to do it that way, instead of having two people only in charge of designs, and then the competitions being sort of like a secondary thing, but rather being part of the whole.
That's what Licha said about being like a hired gun. I think that it's one thing for others who are not so talented when it comes to graphical creation or content, but we need also people with imagination, with ideas. So if you have ideas, simple drawing, presenting a simple idea might be also enough for others to work on this, and so this is also a way to contribute and collaborate and move things forward in our protocol.
I think those should be part of the rules of the game. Like, the people that we notice that, after 3 months, they earn the, first, second, or third place a few times, or were, substantially voted on by the community. That is also a very good signal by the community on who should, get more responsibilities assigned to them as we figure it out together. Because eventually we also want to reward people and give them more responsibilities based on the work they're doing, which is what's happening now. For example, for the managers of the story, of the story school. So that's sort of like another objective that that we want to achieve towards the end of this quarter, or towards end of Q2.
I see Duck came. Hi,
Did
Duck.
you bring your towel? It's in a different dimension.
Are you guys here? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Yeah, needed the towel for the shower. So, keep going. I'm missing some of the context. Dragon Bro tried to fill me in, but please proceed.
Yes. No. We were just having an open brainstorm. We just to summarize the call, I think we're at a point of actually summarizing, which is we shared on the CC questions chat a link to the Trello containing all of the creative submissions, images, and videos done by the community. And we also shared sort of like a link to a high-level spreadsheet of what we can expect on the content side based on what we can expect also on product updates, development, what we want to do there, just to prepare accordingly. And then what we were saying is we want to, based on their activity, we want to enable sort of OWIM and Kiro. OWIM sort of like on the side of like design, and Kiro on the side of like content for social media, to manage a new process that we're starting, which is to or restarting, which is the bounties. But they would be, instead of doing bounties that are continuous and very sort of like open-ended, we want to do bounties at the beginning of every month based on what we expect for that month to be, things that we would like the community to participate and to share with, whether they be images or videos or written content, or even marketing ideas, or for influencers that they say that they can help us market things. We want to start doing this sort of like this monthly competition, manage it accordingly with very clear guidelines on how the rewards would be across those lines, and then the community would vote on these submissions because they would be transparent for everybody to see. We would vote towards the end of the month, or as they come, that needs to be defined on Discord. And then that's how the community would vote who to win. That still needs to be decided how that's exactly going to work. Like when should the votes happen, and if it's on Discord, we need to make sure that people are not like hacking it with many accounts. It's still the details need to be figured out, but that is kind of like the essence of what we were discussing. And just basically, I think OWIM would be sort of like the main designer for things that we need sort of like in a recurring basis, someone that we can count on continuously, just based on his activity for the past 6 months and his initiative. But at the same time, keeping the doors open to new participants on the design space to share BabelFish animations or drawings as they imagine them, and then based on their contributions over time, also increase the responsibilities based on what the community considers to be good work. So it's kind of like that is sort of like the general thing that we wanted to share with the community before really formalizing it and making a full sort of like SOP, standard operating procedure for the story school to operate beginning on February, right? So in terms of the Babelverse, how that fits, I guess Babelverse, it's its own sort of like school. We're looking forward to also to hear more updates there in the next community call, as well as like at the end of the quarter, seeing like a grant request. But in terms of like the design, how the design or the narrative goes on the Babelverse, I think that's like its own thing, and it fits perfectly because we're not going to constrain the brand to something specific. Like for example, Sovereign, we want to keep it organic, just well defined. Every month, this is what we want for images, this is what we want for videos, etc., and letting the community vote.
Anyone want to add something to this?
I think what's going to get really interesting is once we start with the first monthly competition in February, which I guess Owen and Kiro, we will need to have like a separate call to like define this with you guys, as well as the budgets for each competition. And then after that, I think we will start seeing a lot more feedback coming in from the community. But it sounds like we're in agreement here. I take silence as tacit approval, but maybe I'm wrong.
And maybe we just need a little bit of time for the things to settle and the ideas to come, and then we will hear more from the community.
If you have also ideas on how you think the process would make more sense, again, like I can already see that before this being finally formalized, there will probably be some gaps in terms like, okay, we start a monthly competition, but then okay, we know that we need to basically start a monthly competition way ahead of time, just to give enough time for people to participate and for the community to vote. So that's something that we need to to do right.
Just one more thing to add. Once there was kind of a bounty or some kind of conversation when people brought new people in. Are we continuing that, or what's going on there?
At the moment, so bounties at the moment we're not really. They're sort of like everything. It's I think it's going to start again, especially with a new website. But in terms of bringing new people in, I don't think there's a bounty going on. Are you thinking of bringing someone specific for the development team, you mean?
That was just mentioned, I think, by Novax or something, that it could be a way to get new talent and bring new people in. But if it's gone, I don't know. It will happen organically, I guess.
Yes, so we will be advertising, for example, once we start these new bounties, across all areas. They will be advertised on Twitter and on all our channels. And then, I guess they will be rewarded based on what the community votes as being liked. And that's the best way that we will know what the community likes and to reward people. But yeah, we did have some bounties at first for referrals to the development school because they're really hard to find, but that's not active at the moment.
Yeah, maybe at some point, if it's needed, we can also create some bounties for headhunting for story school. But maybe let's start from this idea presented by Dark Knight and see where it takes us.
Another interesting thought is once BabelVerse is kind of available or running, how can we implement it into the guidelines? Maybe it would be nice to just already think about a way how this two different, the pixel world and the vector world, let's name it like this, which is irrelevant, but yeah, how they come together.
Yeah, so interesting. So I mean, we really like the example of Vegochi, and I think the team in the Babelverse can also, if they like to share more about their direction on how they see it. I see Aave.com and Vegochi.com. They sort of like keep their brands separate. It's sort of like separate projects. But Vegochi, of course, they do the branding for like the little Aave ghost. I think like the pixelated fish has always been like we started with a pixelated fish pretty early on. I forget where the origins of that pixelated fish is from DJ Dragon Bro. Do you remember what the source of that pixelated fish was from? Or Dak? So that pixelated fish, I think it's like sort of like, you know, it existed already. So Creative Commons.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
go ahead, Dak.
Yeah, I don't know if you you heard when I spoke before because I got two things to press. But are you referring to the yellow fish or are you referring to the fish in the bowl? That was one of the first fish, was a fish in a bowl.
Yeah, no, just the fish alone. It came from somewhere, right? I forgot from where.
I believe the history of events was you had a talk with Novax, and you were, you know, exploring what you're seeing in CryptoKitties and CryptoPunks, and then he talked to me, and so I went ahead and I art directed because we already did a vector fish based upon just like you have on the BabelFish money protocol. So we did a vector fish of the actual you know, Douglas Adams fish. And then I art directed DeFi Dragon Bro to do a pixel version. But I believe that the inception was a conversation between you and Novax, in which when that was relayed to me, you know, we mobilized and we produced that original fish. And we have a Trello board, so it shows timeline. If everything, you know, if there's, you know, like we build a history of, you know, looking back, you know, at the different things that the protocol achieved, you know, that we do a story of how it unfolded, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, because the question was like, what was the origin of that fish? And I can't recall it specifically. I think we had seen something very similar elsewhere, and that's the beauty of the BabelFish brand. Like a lot of people, you know, have done a lot of, you know, work that we can get inspiration from. But I do think that the pixelated goldfish that has sort of like become part of our brand. So yeah, it's a conversation to have, you know, especially once the Babelverse grant request comes over and we see more of the progress going on there. How do we incorporate it? So I think that's a conversation that we will need to be having later in the future.
So the question, it was that a question from Ohm about how do we, is there a synthesis between the vector art that he's doing along with the pixel art that we're seeing in the Babelverse? Was that the question?
Yes.
So for those that log into the Babelverse, right, to see kind of like the simple prototype, and you see that in the loading screen, you'll see vector art. So what I was doing was exploring that. I think it's important to merge the two because you have different groups of artists and you have marketing purposes. And so you could have it represented both ways, right? Just like every time in the BBC version of the Hitchhiker's Guide, you know, anytime the guide talked, right, it would go to that black background with the neon colors, and that's all vector. So I was trying to show a synthesis of changing that, or springing off of that from an art direction point of view, of instead of the black background, you see this different space backgrounds that we're using, right? And so in the space backgrounds, you have the overlay of you know, the vector shapes. So, but what, you know, if we talk about, let's say the guy talking about Arthur Dent, right? You would have a video footage of the actual character Arthur Dent moving around, and then he would freeze frame, and you would draw the vector line over it as the music started and the guide started speaking. So there's a way to kind of, in a story narrative way, merge multiple art. And so that means we could have, you know, the very nice Photoshop from Visa, or we could have the vector art of OM, and then we have the pixel art. You know, there's a way that we could explore synthesizing that. And one more point, you know, I worked on the Leapfrog version of Ratatouille. So with Ratatouille, it was for younger kids. And what Pixar and Disney, they have different styles that is not the pre-rendered 3D that you would think the movie is. Same as The Incredibles. They have a style guide in the art pack. And so it says, if you're doing knitwear, this is what it's going to look like. If you're doing coloring books, this is what it's going to look like. And it's not necessarily always a 3D character for, the Ratatouille cast or the Incredible cast or any of the other ones. So this is we could integrate this and follow this that you see in the industry for these brands, is that you can tell, if you look at the term for anyone that's familiar with transmedia, in a transmedia marketing campaign, you could integrate all the different talents we have in Story School with their style and still have a cohesive brand.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that'll be the dream. Cool. So we're hitting up the hour now, and just to be respectful of everybody's time, I think this was really a really good call. Just to share with you guys the direction of where the Story School is going to be, sort of like jump starting again with Oim and Kiro helping to manage that, as well as some help potentially from Angler and Visa. So we'll be sharing more on that either by the end of this week or Monday, just so that the instructions are super clear and the calendar also is simple to understand at a glance. But I think, the participation from everybody has been great. Thank you, Dak, also for sharing your view towards the Babelverse. We're definitely excited to hear more about that. And I'll shut up now. And if anybody else has something else to say, let's give it a couple of minutes. Otherwise, we'll adjourn the call.
Yeah, I think we can wrap it up, and I will then disable bot. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Peace out. Yeah.
Thank you, Dark Knight, for the detailed overview.
Yeah, thanks to everyone.
Cheers also. Have a nice evening. Or day, or whatever.
Same to you, man.
Cheerio.
Guys.